Proceed.
This is Water Elemental.
And this is Axis. And we are here to talk about the League of Legends. A calm and balanced podcast featuring the voices of Axis and Water Elemental, two men from the high society. We're coming to you today, brought to you in part by Casablanca Fruits. If you're hoping they don't walk into your fruit stand, this is the fruit for you. And of course, roasted by the fire for all your Christmas meat needs. We have a few things in the news today. We're going to be talking about the variety of things brought to you by Riot Games. And of course, the new champion, which appears to be a Naga. If you would like to begin, Water, talking about this new champion, whom I believe is called
Cassiopeia?
Cassiopeia, who I believe is called Cassiopeia.
Like the star system. Right?
That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life.
And I was hoping you could do this to the whole thing. Alright, so we're talking about Cassiopeia here. She looks bland.
Yeah, she really does. That's the first thing I noticed. I was like, for every single one of her abilities, I was like, oh, that's something I've seen before.
Alright, let's actually break this down here.
First ability, Noxus Blast. It's a delayed damage poison.
Who has that? Teemo?
Lux. No, really, it's essentially Lux. Targets an area, small delay, and then high poison damage. I imagine it's a dot, but still, I mean, come on. It's essentially Lux's little damage area. It doesn't slow, granted, but it's a delayed burst, which, you know, we're all used to at this point. It gives her movement speed, which gives it some versatility, I suppose, but it looks like a really flat ability. But every champion needs a flat ability.
It seems like Trundle's ground ability that deals a little bit of damage instead of, like, defensive. It's more an offensive Trundle corrode thingy on the ground.
I guess you could say that. Then next we have Miasma. It releases a cloud of poison, lightly damaging and slowing, that happens to pass through it. I imagine this is something like she lives a little area of effect poison behind her rather than a targeted area. She just pops it and it's in her immediate vicinity, which can be used to counter, I suppose, melee carries or just to block off a route.
Seems kind of like Singe, though.
Yeah, it seems like Singe with Relies, which is, again, it's another copy-paste, it looks like, but if she's going to be a ranged carrier, having an anti-melee ability is always good. Twin Fang, Cassiopeia lets out a damaging attack at her target, and if the target is poisoned, the cooldown on the spell is refreshed. I imagine this is going to be a skill shot, and if it is, depending on the missile speed, that could be very, very powerful or very, very weak. We will have to see. What do you think? What do you think of the skill shot? Do you think it's going to be a skill shot?
I don't know.
Because if it's a targeted, then why would it say if the target is poisoned?
I'm saying if it's a target, because usually they put skill shots on your Q button, and that would be the first main ability, because that's usually where most people reflex as far as skill shot ability.
That's a good point, actually.
So unless they switch it up and that's just not where it's supposed to be, she might have a skill shot. That's
true. That's true.
Next, her ult sounds kind of like Sona.
Yeah, just a little like Sona. Again, her ultimate looks boring. It looks exactly like Sona's, except, you know, it gives a slightly slow. It gives a slow if they're not facing you. Well, that's not one heck of a difference. I guess they changed it to be only if they're facing. Maybe the duration might be longer, or maybe they're just doing it because of the way it'll work with all of her poisoning abilities. She can stun off, and all of a sudden they're double poisoned, and it really hurts them.
I'm thinking it's not a AoE cone stun, mainly because it's all about because she's a serpent and she's going to be kind of like a Medusa. If they're not looking at her, oh no, they're just slowed, because pretty much that's the only reason I can think of.
And finally, her passive, after casting a spell, any subsequent spell cast costs 10% less mana for 5 seconds. This will be probably your CDR, and this is what makes me think she's more of a caster than a ranged, is because essentially she'll have reduced mana cost. I don't see how this will be very helpful in lane phase unless her mana costs are very low, but I can see how it'll be helpful in team fights or chases, helping her conserve mana and let her build towards other items rather than mana
So she's not really mana dependent like most other.
Yes, it'll help her save mana cost and let her focus on other stats, be them offensive or defensive.
Personally, I'm kind of disappointed they went to another caster. We've had 4 casters, then Trundle, then another caster. Why can't we get some more close range melee?
Well, melee has a lot of champions. Range has a lot of champions. Tank has a lot of champions. Mages, there aren't terribly many pure mages, which is, I can see why they're trying to add a lot to the mix. And while I agree it is getting kind of stale, and some of these mages aren't really up to caliber, but still, I can understand they're trying to give mages a lot of options. And so I think this is going to be a dot champion, a dot and a kite champion, which a lot of the other ones weren't really. They were mostly focused on burst.
Well, mages are good at kiting anyway, so that might be a benefit.
There you go.
So, we'll see. We'll give her a look.
Yeah, just speculation at this point. We will let you know when we hear more. In the news this week, we have more on the Ionia versus Noxus match. That's tomorrow. Go watch it. And, you know, if they win, whichever side wins, you get some benefit. No matter who you root for, you can get champions for cheap. You can get a Mamu, Shen, or Uldur if Ionia wins for half price on each. And if Noxus wins, you can get Sion, Rammus, or Vladimir. And, you know, it'll be great, because some of those are fairly decent champions. Not all of them are good, granted. But there's 2 on each side that I would like to pick up. Well, I shouldn't say that. There's 1 on each side that I would like to pick up. And so, depending on whichever side wins, I might pick up one.
Are these skins or just characters themselves?
Champions themselves.
So, you're paying RP for champions half price.
Yeah, they do not have influence points discounts, which I thought was kind of silly. But, again, it's a free-to-play game, and they need to make money, so I can understand their angle.
Well, I could see if they did it for the skins.
That would be cool if they did it for the skins.
Because I would definitely pick up the Pharaoh Mamu for $2.92. I have extra points, and I love the Mamu skin.
Yeah, Pharaoh Mamu is awesome.
Or E-Mamu.
Everyone loves E-Mamu.
Speaking of skins, we have a couple of new hilarious skins.
Well, Surfer Singed and Primal Uldir. We've already talked about
Uldir
a little bit.
But Surfer Singed is new to the table.
It's a sight to behold.
He has the surfboard, he has the blonde hair, he has the giant gourd on his back for Taric Tonic.
It's terrific. It's very creative. And that's really one of the things that a lot of people complain about is just, you know.
They're focusing on champions that actually need skins instead of Ryze.
Or Teemo.
Or Ryze.
Or Warwick.
Or Ryze.
How many skins does Warwick have? 55?
Warwick has 5. Ryze has 7. Teemo has 6.
Oh, that is terrible. But yes, good. More skins for Sion, and you don't have to wait for a ride event to get it. Hooray!
Hooray!
And then we have the Valorant Video Contest Part 2. Anyone out there who makes League of Legends videos, you might think about putting in a video for that. So, yeah, check that out, guys. If you're actually ambitious about making something like that, there is a distinct possibility you will win. I cannot speak. Ignore me. No, don't ignore me. I'm intelligent. Then we have a Season 1 trailer with commentary. Freak did a little joke thing on there. I thought it was pretty funny. If you got a couple of minutes, do check it out. It sounds pretty rushed, but it's pretty funny.
It's like he was bored. He wanted something funny to do, and
we all get bored. So, give it a look. It's still up on the news page. I'm sure of it.
And that's about it for news this week, and neither of us can talk.
Yeah.
Cataclysm.
Talking is difficult. I had a friend who tried to talk once. His head exploded.
But this has been Water Elemental.
And this has been... Hey, wait a minute. I'm still looking for footage of people getting killed in League of Legends. Not in real life. Don't send me that. I might get arrested. No, but if you get any sweet kills, sweet plays, send them to Spazticgaming@gmail.com. There is a URL link at the bottom, and I would love to see them. What?
You're pointing at nothing.
I'm pointing at everything. And then there's some Facebook crap, too, I believe.
You tear down the Facebook thing, that's why no one joins it.
You know what? It's because my opinion has gravity to it.
Well, my Facebook page has cookies. So,
They're probably oatmeal cookies, which are disgusting.
And me and Axis are still planning something nice, so the more people we can get involved with all our podcasts and videos and stuff like that, the faster you guys get to see our little diabolical scheme.
I'll give you a hint, guys. It starts with a J.
Yep, I think so. I thought it began with an A.
Well, I gotta go now. I gotta go eat some cookies.
This has been Water Elemental.
And this has been Axis, and we were talking about the League of Legends.